Hi, Gemini. Welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for September of 2022. We are the astrologers of Pandora Astrology. I'm Jamie Kale Miller. I'm in Berkeley, California.
I'm Julian Mikos in San Francisco, California.
Well, hey, Gemini, your month's horoscope is mostly about your home life and how it interfaces with your career. If you'd like general guidance, you can enlist the help of a natal and transit reading where you can get any question answered. Or if you want to really drill down into the career arena specifically, you might want a Mission Orders career reading, and you'll find links for both of these in the text that comes with this video. Well, Gemini, I want to start with something I mentioned in last month's horoscope, which is Juno retrograde. It's continuing. It takes several months for this to happen. It's happening in your 10th house, and so you're really feeling it in your place of business, in your place of work, in your career relationships. Juno retrograde brings us into a relationship retrospection period. This one is in Pisces, and so we are reevaluating our relationships of the past or the past of the relationships that we are in currently, according to a spiritual litmus test. How does this relationship fit and mesh with my spiritual value system, or doesn't? And there's going to be an important milestone in Juno's progress this month. And that's happening around the 7th. Yes, September 7th, right here. Juno opposes the sun, and the sun will be down here in the 4th house. And it's really been the sun has been bringing your attention to your home life for the past half a month, from about late last month. And Juno here being placed opposite to that is going to be pulling your attention towards your career relationships and this retrospection process that's going on kind of, in the background. I'm going to have a little bit more to say about this when we get to the moons shortly, but for now, I want to fling the conversational ball over to Julia because she's got big news about Mercury.
Hey, Gemini. Yes, I do. Mercury is your ruling planet. And whenever one's ruling planet goes retrograde, it can be a particularly frustrating time in our lives. So Mercury starts the month in your 5th house. This is the house of your children. It rules fun and pleasurable activities like going out to the theater. And the 5th house has a lot to do with your creativity as well. So with Mercury starting the month in your 5th house, your mind, which is ruled by Mercury, may be super preoccupied with fun and games. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but it can be a little annoying if you have to focus on more important things like school and work. Now, wherever we have Mercury, we can face an increase of communication. So maybe you are thinking a lot about children if you don't have any in your life, or if you do have some children in your life, you might find that you guys are connecting a lot more, maybe socializing a lot more together. Now, on the 10th, Mercury does go retrograde in this house. And when Mercury goes retrograde, it's a time of rethinking, redoing, and miscommunications. So again, if you do have kids in your life, there might be a lot of miscommunications with them. Or if you're planning on having children, you might be rethinking those plans in some way too. Mercury retrograde in the 5th might mean that if you do play any games, that you might have to go over and re-strategize your game playing. Or if you are involved in any creative projects, it might be a time where you get a little bit stumped and you might have to go back and sort of edit over your work. Now on the 5th, on September 22nd, Mercury will exactly conjoin the sun in your fifth. And this is known as an epiphany day. There's a greater epiphany day and a lesser epiphany day. Lesser epiphany days happen when Mercury is retrograde, like it is now. And the greater ones happen if Mercury is direct. So epiphany days are times of insights and aha moments into sort of the whole retrograde cycle. So in your fifth house, you could be having some insights about your children, insights into having children. Maybe you're getting some kind of connections about your creative work, or even things that you like to do for fun. And then on September 23rd, this retrograding Mercury is going to enter your fourth house of family and home, where you might run into some miscommunications with the people you live with, as well as family members too. Now, Mercury's retrograde cycle is going to end on October 2nd. So, watch our next month's video. That'll be coming up to sort of see how that's going to affect you. Venus, I'd like to say a few things about her. People love to hear about Venus because she rules our relationships. She's the planet of art, beauty, and pleasure. And on September 4th, she moves into your fourth house of family and home. So Venus is bringing more harmony to the domestic sphere of your life. This is a wonderful time to do something to beautify your home in some way, because Venus is about elegance and style. And since she's the planet of pleasure, you're going to be enjoying your home a lot more, and you might be a lot less inclined to kind of go out and see people outside. This is kind of a homebody transit and a wonderful time for getting along with your family. Even if you guys are having miscommunications, Venus here can really sort of smooth those over, which is really, really helpful. Then on September 30th, Venus will enter your fifth house. And we're really going to cover that in a lot of depth in our next month's video, because it's only really ingressing the last day or two of this month. And finally, really interesting stuff on Mars. Mars, the planet of action and activity, is slowing down this month, and it's going to go retrograde next month, which means that it's going to be spending a number of months in the same house. So for you, that's going to be the first house, the house of self. Now, Mars in the first house can be a very high energy time in people's life, because planets in the first, we tend to embody, and we also tend to project them out to other people. So Mars in the first might mean that you are just like chock full of energy. You're running around, you're wanting to, find some kind of outlet for all of that physical energy, which can be great, especially if you need to get active and maybe do a workout routine or something. Now, Mars in the first house can also mean that we assert ourselves a lot more readily towards other people. And it can mean that we're a little bit more, pugilistic, a little bit more willing to kind of pick fights with people. Like if you might not start a fight, but if somebody starts picking on you, you're not going to run away from one with Mars in the first house. And, because Mars is a really sort of active planet, if you pent up that energy, or if you do kind of silly things with it, like, I don't know, taking on way more than you can chew physically, like maybe skiing a double black diamond when you've only done the bunny slopes or something, you can run into accidents. So they're not fated to happen to you, but if you're not being sort of careful with how, if you're overestimating your physical abilities with Mars in the first, sometimes we can run into a little bit of trouble.
Yeah. And, I would think the Geminis of the world might spend an awful lot of time just habitually communicating on their devices, like their phones and so forth. And so yeah. I think a transit like this is really great. Get out, get some sunshine and so forth.
Yeah. Get off those devices.
Moving. So I want to tell you about this month's two moons, beginning with the full moon, which falls across the axis of home and career. The sun lands in the house of home and family, domestic life, heritage, and roots. And the moon lands up here in the 10th house. And this happens really, really close to Juno's Commitment Clarity Day, which was on the 7th. Let me show you that. So here's Juno is opposing, here's the 7th. Juno is opposed the sun. And that is a really great time when, along the course of this relationship retrospection, big clarity can land on your head and insights can sort of clear the path forward. And then, followed as it is by this full moon, bringing a lot of the attention and a lot of emotional energy too to this career arena. This does suggest that you may have a lot of feelings or a big intuitive hit around this full moon on September 10th. And it may tie right into that relationship retrospection that is going on in your career, where you're asking yourself, like, is this a client that I really feel good about working for? You know, is this somebody in my, in my practice that I do really good work with? Is this somebody whose agent I really want to be? Is this somebody that I really, I'm a headhunter and I really want to find this person a job because I feel like they do great things in the world, or maybe not so much. And so clarity, I think, comes pretty strongly in the time period around September 7th to 10th because of Juno getting into alignment with the sun and moon. Now, the sun continues along through the fourth house, and it is bringing a lot of attention to your home life, and has been doing for a couple of weeks at that point. But then it's going to finish out its transit through the fourth house and begin to move into your fifth house, where the attention really becomes trained more on yourself and your personal brand. And your creativity and self-expression. This is a really wonderful house for fun and entertainment, leisure activities like hobbies, as Julia was describing before. And Julia was saying that with Mercury traveling the fifth house and going retrograde there's going to be a lot of reevaluation and reflection in that area as well. And when the sun and the moon land here, it's going to be a really good time for planting seeds of new beginnings. Now, that could mean sort of redesigning your personal brand from the ground up, planting seeds for that, or it could have to do with a creative project that you're involved with that you want to plant some seeds, to begin some new branch of that perhaps, or an entirely new project altogether. So this new moon could be a really great time for that. Now, this moon we're calling calculated diplomacy versus boundless enthusiasm, because Jupiter is over here opposite to this new moon. Now, this new moon is pulling you in a kind of a self direction, whereas Jupiter is pulling you in a community direction. Now, if you, for example, run a business where you need to do social media marketing, Jupiter's transit through the 11th house is fantastic news. The best news that you might hear about that actually in a 12-year period. Jupiter's passage through your 11th is a really great time to grow your fan base, your followers, your newsletter list, whatever is the tribe and community that gathers around that thing you do. But this new moon is going to be all about focusing some energy and attention on beginning a new project with that thing you do, so that Jupiter can then, with his boundless enthusiasm in the sign of Aries, take that out to those who follow you. And so this new moon, I think it has a lot of power embedded in it for you. Well, Gemini, that's what we have for you today. Hope you enjoyed that. You can always find your horoscope on our website, pandoraastrology.com, in the horoscopes tab. And if you want a reading based on anything that you heard here today, you can check out the readings tab, where you can actually schedule a session with Julia or me. And if you want to know more about this month's moons, check out the forecast tab. And if you want to find out more about Juno retrograde, go to our YouTube channel, where you can find the year of 2022 news playlist and the Juno retrograde video there. And until next time, we'll see you around the cosmos. Bye.
Bye-bye.